Race number 8 then, the second of the day in the Louis Vuitton America's Cup qualifiers. One of the great sporting rivalries, traditional foes on the water. America against Great Britain, Spithill against Ainsley, and support all around for both of the crews out there as we approach the critical stage of the pre-start.
Critical stage. Ben Ainsley, who is to leeward, is definitely well above the lay line. Let's see if Spithill goes after the hook here. He's trying to dive down underneath, at least force Ainsley to a tighter line, essentially a slower angle toward the line. Really an interesting, way down deep in the box.
Not a lot to kill. 20.
Very close, very close. Head to head here, hull to hull.
Ainsley's in very strong position here right now. 14 seconds to go. If he's not early for the starting line, he's going to be well ahead when they get off. They're actually tacking for the line on Oracle Team USA. Ainsley's pinching to get up, pinching as tight to the breeze as he can to get up around that mark. Will he make it? Oh, they're going 5 knots, really slow. Just get around. Now it's an acceleration contest.
An agonizing start for the British crew. Not exactly trademark, not exactly textbook, but it has worked, and they are out in front, and they are now finally up on the foils, and they have left the USA behind, just crossing as we speak.
But I think that's exactly right, Ali. Not trademark, but when you have two guys that know each other that well, I think it's absolutely par for the course that things got really weird. Joey, what do you think about that starting sequence?
It was certainly different, Ken. I saw Jimmy probably went for a hook. Jimmy Team USA went for a hook where he maybe shouldn't have and just took a clear start, but that's not really his style. He went in for the kill and it didn't really work out that well for him. So great start for BAR.
Gotta love the America's Cup, going in for the kill before they've even crossed the start line. That kind of says it all as Land Rover BAR and the British outfit under Sir Ben Ainsley scream away from Mark 1, heading downwind, and the Americans in hot pursuit.
One quick jibe. This is a pretty short leg. One quick jibe, one and in to this mark, and then let's see if the wind shifts wreak havoc with the group as it has in the first race today and that we saw a lot of yesterday.
Okay, should be straight in here.
So the first jibe downwind from the British is smooth enough, and the Americans looking to close that gap all the time.
So the difference, why Oracle Team USA jibed early right there is they're setting themselves up for a split at this bottom gate. They're going to have enough of a gap between themselves and the right-hand mark. You hear Spithill, or you hear Slingsby saying we can split right.
5 meters. Okay, we're going to break right.
We're going to break right. So they're looking for a split at this bottom gate.
Okay.
On board, Oracle Team USA, Jimmy Spithill at the helm.
3, 2, 1.
And round the gate they go, splitting the course.
Hold on, man.
Land Rover BAR in one direction, Oracle Team USA in the other.
Boundary 40 away.
Oracle kind of skidding sideways around that mark. Probably not their best mark rounding, but
25 seconds. Still looking for oil.
So let's have a word with Joey Newton out on the water for us. Joey, what's your take on the USA tactics from here? And can you can you discern any different wind speeds to either section of the course?
Yeah, Al, it actually looks pretty even, but from my eye down here on the course, it's sometimes hard to tell. I'd say what Tom Slingsby, the tactician on USA, is thinking is to just get some sort of separation and rely on the boat speed to pull them through. And it looks like they've made a pretty good gain right now.
It does look like they've made a pretty good gain. It looks like a bit of a left shift for Oracle Team USA. This is when it's really hard to discern the difference between big wind shifts when we're just looking at this versus boat speed. Possibly we can take a look at some statistics at the end of the race and take a look at the boat speed differences. But you can see Oracle has come right back into this race very quickly from that left side of the race.
They are almost on collision course. That is the last thing that Land Rover BAR need right now after what happened yesterday. An enormous gaping hole in the hull repaired overnight. And the Americans taking them head on, and Jimmy Spithill laying down the gauntlet to Sir Ben Ainsley.
Yeah, just closing speed of about 50 knots. No big deal amongst friends.
Going softer, keep the press on. Going to be tacking. Stand by.
I think they're on a big lift on Oracle Team USA right now.
Touch and go. 3, 2, 1.
Remarkable how much these dagger boards move, not just fore and aft, but in and out. We'll try to show that a little bit later, but it's phenomenal how much the rotation happens.
High build, please. Light section here, but it will get better.
It is nip and tuck between
BMG now.
the Americans and the British. Spithill and Ainsley head to head. One of those great sporting duels.
Right away boat is Oracle Team USA. They're actually starting a little hunt, what's called a hunting maneuver right now. Do they point their bows at Ben Ainsley at this stage?
This is another cross that's going to be mighty tight.
They're coming down a little bit, forcing Ainsley to do a more radical dip again.
It's like there's some kind of magnetic force drawing them towards each other.
Well, remember Top Gun? You know, that has a little bit of the dog fights in Top Gun.
Keep that speed on. Okay, we've got 10 seconds to lay. Maybe need a little flat. Right hand mark is favoured.
Very clear calls by Tom Slingsby.
Now we got
10
it.
seconds to lay, which
Stand
means
by.
one more tack and through the
Give me
gate.
a full tack. 3, 2, 1. Turning. Let's keep going. High build.
Smooth on the tack from the
Crossing. High
Americans.
build. Right turn.
They're not laying this gate by a lot, I can tell you that. You can see here Slingsby saying high build, which means they think they're dangerously close to being underlaid on this mark. That's the mark they want to go around, and let's see if they can get there easily or if they have to go high and slow. You can see them pinching up now a little bit, turning up.
Here we go.
Looks like they're going to make it okay.
Going soft pretty quick.
Around the gates and downwind, and not a huge amount to choose between the two. The Americans, though, just sneaking their way in front and cruising at 35 knots, and the British have had an absolute shocker.
Big crash. Bows dug in by the British there at exactly the wrong time. It just looked like a bit of an unforced error. I wonder why that happened. That's a tough one. Joey, did you see? Were you close to see that out there?
I was a little far away, Ken, but it looked like the boat probably just got a little bit high. The foil's aerated, and they dove down into the water. A pretty unforced error, but a tough break for the British.
Well, that could be the difference.
Yeah, when you're racing these things, as we're finding out very early on, it's the little things like this, just one mistake. My God, it looks like two submarines about to go down, you know? Fortunately, they're fairly buoyant.
Early shower for the boys in the British boat, and it may well cost them dear.
I mean, look at that. They were 50 meters behind, and it goes to 350 with one mistake. Incredible.
Just wonder if the hull is leaking there, Kenny, to the right-hand side.
No, I think what happens is the cockpits get full of water, and they have drains on the inside edge of them, so that there's water. I bet you they're knee-deep in water. Yeah, that would. I think just going to be water flowing out from either from the daggerboard box or likely from the. Oh wow!
I'm not so sure about it. I'm really not.
Okay, hold it. We just kind of saw a little bit of an opening of a crack right there.
That looks like the previous damage from yesterday is causing them all kinds of bother.
No problem.
Okay, I see what you mean. My goodness. I think they're bailing out right now. Oh my goodness, it's all cracked up in this whole area right here is cracked.
And this is a major concern for the British challenge. They've spent so long trying to repair the damage from yesterday, the collision with SoftBank Team Japan. They are around about 300 meters behind the Americans, who are turning.
I wonder if they know how much damage they have right now.
Press.
Because if they knew, they would be stopping racing.
They just want to get the boat off the water and into the shed as
Yeah, but
quickly as possible.
I don't think they know. It would be almost impossible for them to know.
He set up the split. Stand by. Touch and go. Touch and go. 3, 2, 1.
That is a major issue. Round they go. Upwind for the final time in the race.
Good gas
But a
there.
much bigger story developing here in Bermuda.
A little longer. 2, 1, we go.
Joey, can you see the water coming out of this boat?
Yeah, I can, Ken. I think it still might be residual water from the big stuff that they had at the top mark. The boats have scuppers that allow the water to run out in just such that situation.
Yeah.
But it takes quite a while for it to run out, so I wouldn't be surprised if that is just what we're seeing. I'd be really surprised if that was damage from the day before and it come unstuck. But hey, anything could happen with these boats.
It could, you know, what looked like a crack could have been the seam, like almost a paint seam on the boat. So let's not panic about that. If that was the damage that we thought we saw right now, they'd be in big trouble. You know, there is so much load on that part of the boat with regard to the actual dagger board right there.
Fine. Nice tack, boys. Very good.
So the British well behind and suffering a major setback on leg 4 with that splashdown, and they may or may not have trouble with their hull. It's so difficult to tell from this kind of range. If the water that was coming out of the hull, Kenny, previously was residual water.
That's a scupper right above it. You see right above it, there is a scupper right in here, and that scupper is just, there's water coming out of it. You can see that area right by the bottom of the sea, right there, and that's just water coming out of there. So I think Joey's called this one correctly. What we may have been looking at before is just the paint line of where they did the repair last night. Because if that was actually a crack that we saw, there's no way they'd still be sailing right now. They would have had much bigger structural damage.
Okay, so what you're saying is what we've just seen there is normal.
I don't think anything's normal at this stage, so if I could preface that. But yes, that's what I agree with Joey in this stage. And
so if there was residual water in there from their earlier splashdown, if you like, that's where it would be coming out of.
That was certainly my first impression, but then I saw what you guys were looking at, and that was that what looked like a seam. But I'm still gonna stick with, I think that was a paint line that possibly was just part of the repair last night. They might have had a little glimmer, a little shimmer to it, and might have looked a lot worse than it actually is.
Actually, let's just go higher group here.
Well, in the meantime,
it's starting to shift.
the USA have a lead of 200 meters, and they are looking to make sure that the British pay.
Some left-hand breeze. Okay, BMG in this. Okay, one and in right. Okay, a little further. Give me a foiling tack, guys. Yeah, stand by. 1, 3, 2, 1. Turning.
1 last tack toward gate 5 for the Americans. 2 wins from 2 yesterday, and setting the pace here this afternoon against the British.
You saw they didn't take any chances whatsoever coming in on the ley line to this gate, and they just didn't want to come around thin or tight to the wind on this mark. They wanted to be foiling and ripping around this mark, going 30+ knots, and looks like they pulled that off okay.
Generally pretty soft here.
British boat seemingly moving along fairly comfortably, even though a long way behind.
Boy, big jump on this leg especially. Probably partially wind speed, partially wind direction, and certainly that was not going slow. It's hard to see. Doesn't appear to be any water coming out of the boat anymore anyway. So yeah, I'm sticking with my guns on the first call, and that was before you guys spooked me into thinking that the boat was split in half. Allie, thank you.
there would have been a few nervous
Joey,
boys
back
in the Land Rover BAR shed when they saw those.
Sorry, all British fans. We might have spooked the herd a little bit. Joey, thanks for backing me up on that one. I appreciate it.
Well, it's going to need some pretty close scrutiny regardless, isn't it? Whether there was any water that shouldn't have been pouring out of unexpected places. They will be inspecting that very carefully when they get back from this race. All that hard work last night to make sure they were shipshape for today.
Hopefully we can go back and look at those moments when it did look shiny, like something weird was happening. Because I'll give it to you. It looked strange there for a minute, but I'm sure we definitely freaked out some British sailing fans. Sorry.
Big shit. Happy to build, full build.
The British grim-faced at the moment. They had that outstanding start to the regatta with win over Artemis Racing, the Swedes, in race 4 yesterday. The collision in the final race of the day, and then further setbacks here today against the arch rivals, the Americans, who are heading for the final gates and will soon be reaching to the finish.
I wonder if the calls for whether the British are fast enough start appearing again.
Pretty light.
Because certainly, like you said, they had a nice jump. They had a serious jump in this race with a great start by Ainsley and his team.
Tremendous American support, and they are racing like champions at the moment, flying towards the finish line. Great Britain left trailing in behind with quite a lot to think about before their next race against the Kiwis.
Just flying right there, huh?
Almost 40 knots of speed from Oracle Team USA. Just look at that picture. Jimmy's Pit Hill. Bossing proceedings here in Bermuda. The defenders of the America's Cup itself, yet again confirming their status as favourites. Beating the British in fine style. They are 3 from 3. They are looking in beautiful nick.
Got to work on those starts a little bit. There's no doubt about that. They've had a couple tough starts, but certainly boat speed-wise, and you got to give credit to tactician Tom Slingsby. They pulled off that split at the first gate, got themselves out of sequence with the Brits, and very quickly climbed their way back into the race.
So Ben Ainsley crossing some way behind, 39 seconds behind the Americans, and they know that they've got to pull out an awful lot more if they're to challenge in the latter stages of this event and really realise the dream of all those involved with Land Rover BAR, that motivation of bringing the cup home.